I think all of us today at this meeting, we have participated some kind of cloud journey, and we all have learnings from our early stage of cloud adoption in the last 3 to 5 to 10 years. And we all realize and recognize the benefits of operating on the cloud, such as resiliency, performance, scalability, security, etc. I think now it is time for all of us to tweak and adjust our tech strategy to be smart for the next few years. Our EQ cloud strategy has shifted from cloud first to be cloud only. And we have reset our target to be the first cloud only bank by 2026. I know that this is a very bold statement to make as a bank in Canada. And as we close Concentra deal at the end of 2022, EQ Bank will become the 7th largest bank in Canada. We believe the cloud-only strategy will differentiate EQ Bank as the challenging bank in Canada. It will also drive the innovation of the financial services to Canadians. Also, on the other side, to realize and fully appreciate the fact that it will take us a few years to get to where we want to get to be cloud only. During this transition period, we will be in a hybrid state of operating in cloud and on-premise workload. And we need to plan for the dependency and the sequence of the migration to the cloud and the performance to minimize any potential customer impacts and technical debts that we will be building if that happens.
So for us, yes, we are mostly in the cloud, SaaS applications, and Microsoft Azure. So our learnings and where we are today is we've mapped out our next 5-year transformation strategy. We're re-inventorying what we have in terms of SaaS and what we have in the cloud. And then secondly, segregating those between Tier 1 and Tier 2. Tier 1 are highly impactful to our strategy going forward, and Tier 2 are important and necessary. And then re-looking at what we want to do with those. If it's a SaaS application, but it's highly strategic going forward, do we want to change that? Do we want to bring that into our Azure environment rather than having a SaaS application? So we're re-looking at what we have. We're inventorying and categorizing those things. And third, we're also looking at what are our risks for each of those? Are the vendors, are the providers giving us what we need in terms of resilience, in terms of data recovery, in terms of disaster recovery? And if we're not confident on those, we're re-looking at what we want to do with those applications. And then fourth, going back to that inventory and how all these applications that support our strategy going forward, how they interoperate today and how they need to interoperate in the future, and then re-looking at what we want to do with those. So we jumped into the cloud. We've made good success of that over the last 7 years, but now we're re-looking at how do we want to make things smarter going forward.
Really, a lot of our infrastructure is still on-prem. We're moving to the cloud right now into Azure and AWS. Some things I've learned so far is you can't underplay how important change management is of your internal people who are on-prem advocates and seeing, the impact of going to the cloud, number one. The second one is making sure that we have dedication to the cloud. So you have this on-prem team, you can't do both. It is a different skill set. So you need to make sure that you have dedicated resources as you move to the cloud. And the third piece I mentioned, we're not just going to one cloud, we're going to 2 clouds, both between AWS and Microsoft. That creates a lot of flexibility for us. And where we're going as an organization is innovation through technology. So what's important behind that is the partners that we choose. We never want to be held back by technology or the partner, which means that as we grow our footprint, there is a little bit more investment up front in terms of skill sets and complexity, but we're never going to be held hostage by our vendors. And that enables us to be able to grow very quickly.
I think, for us, hybrid cloud gives you the benefit of that flexibility and hopefully agility, although not always the case. But I think for me, as technology leaders, we need to understand the processes and services that differentiate our organizations. What I've been trying to do is use the cloud to our advantage. So where we have standard functions that aren't necessarily core to our business, trying to find the most effective and efficient platforms to use or niche SaaS apps, things just to get stuff out of the way. And then holding those pieces that differentiate us a little bit more closely. So in those cases, it doesn't mean we wouldn't use SaaS, but we also have the option to custom develop in some of those cases. And being able to mix and match what makes sense and spend the time in the areas that make the most difference is what the advantage, I think, is of having a hybrid cloud. On the other hand, I end up having to spend a lot of time thinking about enterprise architecture. The hardest part about hybrid cloud is really that management of data and process flows across all of those different systems. You're now dealing with a multitude of vendors. The governance internally is also difficult because now your business users are also involved and sometimes working directly with the vendors as well. And being able to get a handle on data governance and the flow of data, really relies on having very strong architecture within your own systems so that you understand how you're controlling that data and how you're managing that data and how you're going to surface that back up for the end users in a meaningful way. It's not really a choice at this point. We are in a hybrid cloud situation. I think it will only keep proliferating. I don't think there's any way to put that back in the bottle. And so it's really about how do we create the framework to manage within that cloud and where do we use the cloud technology to the best effect.
It can be different for each organization, whether it's a alternative consumption, whether it's direct to cloud, whether it's multiple cloud, whether it's near cloud, right? And I think this ties in well around cloud first versus cloud smart. That cost is not really the only driver. It may have been a big driver earlier on, but when you look at hybrid, we've worked with a lot of organizations that have moved to a hybrid and have changed from a cloud first to a hybrid approach because of things such as cost. They're being a little bit more smart about taking a look at what workloads fit best there. And there's a variety of reasons for that. And we've touched on a few of them already today, which is whether it's privacy or security, some things just need to be held a little bit nearer, right? But overall, I think it's about embracing that hybrid approach and understanding what fits best for your organization within a cloud, or is there something that fits better in near cloud? And near cloud can be, as I said, a couple of different things, whether it's SaaS or alternative type consumption models. It's just all about evaluating what works best for the organization and the specific workloads that you are considering for cloud versus hybrid.